A reading from John chapter 10, verses 11 to 16. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of this sheepfold. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. This is the word of the Lord.
Seven times in John's Gospel, Jesus describes himself as I am. I am the Good Shepherd. I am the gateway. I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the true vine. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the resurrection and the life. And each of those descriptions take us somewhere into the heart of who and what Jesus is about. His identity as the one who is, in John's words, nearest to the Father's heart, nearest to the very nature of God. I am is not just a personal description. You know, I'm a URC minister. Jesus isn't using that in that mundane way, though John plays with this. It is in one sense just, I am. But in another sense, it echoes those words of God to Moses in the desert before the burning bush. Moses wants to know who this God is. And God says, I am who I am. And that becomes the sacred name of God for Moses and the people of Israel. So sacred that they will not say the name aloud. I am who I am. And Jesus takes those words onto himself in John's Gospel. And we know that this is happening because when he uses it in the garden when he's about to be arrested, who are you, Jesus? I am. The soldiers fall back in wonder and awe. I am is a sacred name. And here in John's Gospel, it's linked to the fundamentals of life, the bread of life, the light of the world, the true vine, the way, the truth, the life, the resurrection and the life. And in this passage, it is used twice. I am the Good Shepherd. I am the gateway. We know very well the Good Shepherd description, but perhaps the gateway is less used. I can't think of any. I'm sure there is a hymn or chorus, a song that uses that gateway image, but it's certainly much less than the Good Shepherd. What is this gateway? The gateway is essential for the sheep to be kept safe. There's some kind of rough pen or maybe just almost a clearing with one entrance, and the shepherd would lie down in front of that entrance and protect his sheep through the night. And when the time came to lead them out into fresh pasture, he would stand up and call the sheep, and the sheep would follow. It's a very different kind of shepherding from the one we know in modern British farming. No dogs, no huge flocks, but a small flock for a nomadic shepherd, leading them from one good pasture to the next, knowing each sheep by name. Each sheep is of incredible value to that shepherd, part of life and death for them. They need to keep those sheep safe from the wild beasts and the wolves. So put to one side one man and his dog, and all the stubborn sheep being sent round the field, and then eventually into the pen, and the gate is put across, and it's all done, and the shepherd can walk away. This is a much more intimate picture of the shepherd who lies in front of the sheep to protect them, and then lets them out and leads them, and the sheep follow. It still happens today in Palestine that a shepherd will lead the sheep rather than drive the sheep. It's a picture that is intimate and full of trust, full of care. And it shows us what Jesus means or can mean in our lives here and now. The one who knows us through and through, the one who wants to protect and keep us safe, the one who wants to lead us out into the world. He is the Good Shepherd who is the gateway as well. Reflecting on this more, I think there's a sense in which the gate is the cross. What Jesus does on the cross is both protecting and leading and opening up heaven and God's love to us. This is the Good Shepherd who is willing to lay down his life for the sheep. This is the Good Shepherd who is the King of Kings. Shepherd was a word that was used of the rulers of Israel. King David himself had been a shepherd boy, and that term was used of many leaders in the nation of Israel. Sometimes they were good shepherds, sometimes they were very bad shepherds, very bad rulers. And at one point in Ezekiel says that God is saying, I will be the shepherd. The rulers of the nations have been bad shepherds, not caring for the vulnerable, the wounded sheep, the hungry sheep. And I will myself become their shepherd. I will tend their wounds, and I will carry their young. Shepherds refer to rulers, but they also were, of course, the actual shepherds in the society. And those actual shepherds were on the fringe. They were neglected, seen as poor and unclean. And that made the wonder of the shepherds coming to greet the Christ child all the greater. Why the very dregs of society, the shepherds, were the first to see Jesus. And so there's that contrast within this picture of the shepherd. Jesus is both the King of Kings and the outcast, the one who is poor, the one who is rejected. It'll be fascinating to see next Saturday how these themes are brought together in the coronation service, in that we have a king, King Charles, and yet he and us are accountable to a greater king, to Jesus himself, to God in our lives. We all are held to account under the love of God. And will the pomp and circumstance of next Saturday hide that, blur it, or will it underline it? Will that contrast come out as the service proceeds and as the way of service and the way of compassion is proclaimed? We live in a new age, the age of King Charles, the Carolean age after our Elizabethan age. And as a nation, we're all caught up in this, whether we're raving Republicans or rabid royalists or somewhere in between. We're all caught up in this national event. Our stamps, our coins will change. It is a new era. But John speaks of a new era above all eras, the era of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, the King of Kings. In a sense, Jesus represents us all, represents the whole of humanity. And when he lays down his life, he lays it down for the whole of humanity. And when he takes it up and is raised up, he opens a gateway for us all as well. Next Saturday, the coronation may bring people together in our nation, or it may expose the deep divisions within it, or it may do a little of both. I hope and pray it will do the former. Not to ignore the deep divisions and the harsh inequalities in our nation, but somehow transcend them in a renewed determination in us all, and especially among those who do have privilege and power. And sometimes that means us, because compared to some in our town and community, we are more powerful, and we need to reach out to them. The themes of this coronation are faith, service, and community. And that's something that we can all take part in. We can all work better, fuller, harder to serve the common good, to build up community, to restore and renew faith within our nation. As we say, long live the King, King Charles, may we all the more say, long live Jesus, who is the Good Shepherd, who is the way, the truth, and the life. Thanks be to God. Amen.